This is CBS.
Coming up next, News Center 5.
Now go beyond clean, all the way to shine. Introducing new dishwasher oil. Now it has a new advanced formula that's better than it ever was before. So hardworking, new dishwasher oil not only cleans, it makes everything shine. All gets dishes dazzling, silverware shimmering, glasses glistening with shine. Go beyond clean, all the way to shine. New advanced formula dishwasher oil, all the way to shine.
In this whole wide world, there's one spectacular taste you just can't pass up. Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Pepsi-Cola and Darien Lake present the Pepsi Challenge 10,000-meter race at Darien Lake. Entries available at all Tops Friendly Markets.
At Wegmans, we're trying to give you better service, a better selection, and even better prices, like delicious California Bing cherries, just 48 cents a pound. And visit any convenient Wegmans pharmacy to register to win a trip for two to London, England. Airfare will be provided by TWA. Entry blanks are available at all Wegmans pharmacies, where every day you get our best.
Coming up on News Center 5, the judge who will decide the fate of Cynthia Pew hears the argument for a new trial. And the clouds prevented us from seeing it, but this is not the eclipse. This is the parade in Waterloo tonight.
Syracuse family is homeless tonight after fire damages their home. And this is really Memorial Day, and it is marked by the parade that you just saw in the central New York community where it all started.
And in the weather tonight, we bring you a new and improved 5cast.
And in sports, the promoter makes his pick in Friday night's Mancini-Bramble championship fight, while Syracuse coach Bill Sanford talks about his team's chances at the regatta.
Now, Bob Kirk, Carrie Lazarus, Joe Satilli's weather, and Steve Cyphers on sports. This is News Center 5.
Good evening. Here's what's going on. The juror who was quoted as saying she thought Cynthia Pew was guilty before the trial even started took the stand today at a hearing to decide if the guilty verdict against Pew should be thrown out. Scott Atkinson is covering the story.
Cynthia Pew was found guilty in April of killing Manlius businessman James Pippins, her boss and lover of more than a decade. But questions about the jury's decision arose almost as soon as the verdict was announced. In a newspaper article the next day, one woman juror was quoted anonymously as saying she thought Pew was guilty from the start, and that defense attorney Paul Shanahan would never have let her serve on the jury had he been able to read her mind. That juror, Lucy Morose, ducked reporters' questions as she left court today. But at a special hearing, she said she was misquoted. Morose seemed confused by the question she was asked today by Judge Norman Mordew, Shanahan, and prosecutor William Fitzpatrick. The reporter who interviewed Morose, Penny Sorey, told the judge the quotes were accurate. Now the judge must decide whether Morose was prejudiced at the start of the trial, and whether that because of that, Pew should get a third trial. That decision is expected next month. Meanwhile, Pew remains in jail. Scott Atkinson, News Center 5.
A school bus driver who authorities say had sex with one of his passengers was arraigned today. 35-year-old Frank Bessesi is charged with sodomy, sexual abuse, and endangering the welfare of a child. The victim was a 4-year-old girl. Bessesi was working for the ARA Transportation Company at the time the alleged abuse took place in Lafayette. Bessesi is free tonight on $2,500 bail.
The custody battle, which led to the abduction of a 4-year-old Syracuse girl by her father, today moved to the courtroom. In state Supreme Court, both Sylvia and Robert Capasilli told the judge about the circumstances leading up to and surrounding the abduction of their daughter Carrie outside of her East Genesee Street home. No ruling was made on which parent will get custody of the child. The proceedings will resume in the morning. A major victory today for the anti-nuclear activists known as the Plowshare 7. It came in their trial in federal court. The judge ruled the defendants' claim that they were morally justified in damaging government property may be used as their defense. More from Maureen Green.
Demonstrators continued their vigil outside the federal building as the Griffith 7 began their defense. They are charged with damaging government property by breaking into the Air Force Base in Rome last year. Judge Howard Munson today told the group that they lack standing and have failed to prove their actions were justified. But in a reversal, he told them they may use that defense after all.
Almost everything that we brought to the Air Force Base is relevant in our own personal testimony.
We feel that this case presents the very best opportunity to show why necessity was in fact at issue here.
Weapons expert Paul Walker testified this afternoon that cruise missiles, the type housed in B-52 bombers allegedly damaged by the defendants, actually increases the threat of nuclear war. And he asserted that while we all try to work within the boundaries of the system, the symbolic damage done to the B-52s was necessary and effective in preventing nuclear war. In his ruling today, Judge Munson has cleared the way for a number of defendants, and this trial is expected to continue next week. Maureen Green, News Center 5.
While most of the Memorial Day observances were rained out around central New York, the community of Waterloo was still planning for theirs. And today, which is the real Memorial Day, a parade made its way down the main street in the village where Memorial Day began in 1866. One of the observances that was rained out on Monday was at the American Legion Post in East Syracuse. As Kay Newman reports, tonight they return to tradition.
Members from the East Syracuse American Legion Post 359 gathered to remember their comrades who made the supreme sacrifice for this country, whether it was on European soil, at Pearl Harbor, or in the jungles of Vietnam. Some veterans say Americans are too quick to forget what happened to the thousands of men who fought to preserve the American way of life. But those that lived through it say the memories will never fade.
Memorial Day? You asked some touchy subject. That takes me back a good many years ago. Memorial Day is a very sad day in my life. I had a lot of buddies lost there in World War II, and there was two great buddies that saved my life back in '43. And they're not here today because of saving my life. And I think of them every year.
I don't think anybody can really tell what it's really like to be shot at. I mean, as far as that goes.
There's quite a few persons that are on my mind right at this moment.
The service was brief, but in the eyes and on the faces of those participating, each understood what it means to be a veteran without saying a word.
Memories surfaced from deep inside the men who returned, of those who did not. At the American Legion Post, Kay Newman, News Center 5.
Just ahead, as things heat up in the Persian Gulf again, this time Iraq goes on the attack.
And President Reagan campaign trail leads him to graduation day at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Stay with us.
Parisienne, not just full-size Pontiac luxury, but full-size Pontiac value. All the comfort, styling, and elegance you expect in a great car at a surprisingly affordable price. See your Performance Pontiac dealers for the new luxurious 84 Parisienne with prices starting at just $10,600, and that includes factory air conditioning. For affordable 8-passenger luxury, test price our new Parisienne wagon and get details on factory savings on specially equipped Parisiennes now at your Performance Pontiac dealers of Central New York.
This summer, explore 6 million acres of unmatched beauty, the Adirondack Mountain region of New York State. Footpaths and rugged cliffs, mountain streams and family attractions, a sunrise breakfast or a romantic evening, wildlife and nightlife, wilderness and history. The Adirondack experience. Isn't it lovely?
When you're away at college, your folks tell you to call home as often as you can. They want to hear everything. Then you hear about the big phone bills. Tell them to switch to Sprint. You know why? Sprint has these new volume discounts. You make more than $25 worth of calls a month, your savings get bigger. And that's just the beginning. Then you can call your folks and tell them absolutely everything. Well, not everything. Call Sprint. Find out about it.
Rugged. Easy to handle. Tough. Reynolds Wrap, the aluminum foil you can count on for Reynolds Wrap quality. If it's worth wrapping, it's worth Reynolds Wrap. The good food wrap.
5 days of quiet in the skies over the Persian Gulf was broken today. Iraq reportedly scored a direct hit on a ship just south of Iran's Karg Island oil terminal, an apparent resurgence of Iraqi determination to blockade Iranian ports. The attack also foreshadows a potential worsening of the war in the Gulf. A blockade of oil exports could leave Iran short of money to pay for the war against Iraq. This leaves the Iranians with only a few options. One is to close the Straits of Hormuz. This would cut up to 20% of the non-communist world's oil supply. With two airfields close to the Gulf, Iran could effectively renew retaliatory attacks against neutral shipping. And with the U.S. aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk being kept at a safe distance, its planes are too far to patrol the Gulf. A British expert says there's little the U.S. can do anyway.
What use is a carrier task force against, say, indiscriminate mining or hit-and-run raids?
And the Ayatollah Khomeini added fuel to the issue today, saying the U.S. doesn't have the guts to intervene, charging instead that the U.S. is stirring up dissenting Iranian elders who are calling for a negotiated end to the war. Iran's other option is to face Iraq on the battlefield. So far, that land war has lasted almost 4 years without any decisive victories. Reports from the area now say Iran may launch a major offensive in the next few days.
President and candidate Ronald Reagan took on the role of commencement speaker today. The graduates were from the Air Force Academy in Colorado.
The future was on President Reagan's mind at the Air Force Academy commencement on a picture-perfect morning in the mountains of Colorado. Mr. Reagan reflected on the changes since he graduated from college 52 years ago, and on those still to come. First, he got the cadets' attention by indulging one of the prerogatives of the Commander-in-Chief anytime he visits a service academy.
I hereby direct that the Secretary of the Air Force and the Superintendent of the Air Force Academy remit all existing confinements and other cadet punishments for minor offenses, and that this order be carried out today.
The future of which he spoke, said the President, depends on holding fast to the values of the past.
This academy was not built just to produce air warriors. It was also built to produce leaders who understand the great stakes involved in the defense of this country. You are those leaders. And while you must know better than those before you how to fight a war, you must also know better than those before you how to deter a war, how to preserve peace.
At his own insistence, the President shook the hand of every member of the 997-person graduating class as diplomas were awarded. After the new second lieutenants were sworn in, the Air Force's precision flying team, the Thunderbirds, roared overhead in formation. And then, symbolizing the end of 4 tough years, almost 1,000 caps were sailed into the air, gleaming white in the brilliant sunshine. There was no mention today of the world's trouble spots, and no message for the Soviets about the buildup of U.S. military strength. Some of Mr. Reagan's advisors wished that he had taken this opportunity to send a message in advance of his European meetings this weekend. But tradition and values were the order of the day. Bill Plant, CBS News, with the President at the Air Force Academy.
The Syracuse family of 5 escaped from their burning north side home tonight without injury. Fire authorities say Wanda Cole and her 4 children were safely out of the 2-story house at 132 Turtle Street when firefighters arrived about 8:45 p.m. Flames heavily damaged a second-floor room, but firefighters quickly brought the blaze under control. The family is reported to be staying with friends tonight.
Many 19-year-olds throughout New York State are breathing a little easier this evening, knowing that their right to drink alcoholic beverages will not be taken away from them. The State Assembly early today decided not to raise the drinking age to 21. The defeat is seen as a major blow for Governor Cuomo, who had lobbied hard for passage of the bill. The defeat of the measure was a victory for tavern owners, who had also lobbied but against the bill. They claim discrimination against young people and financial setbacks for bars and restaurants.
We're pretty pleased about it in that we did form a group of tavern owners and people that would be affected by this. And we're glad that some of our efforts worked.
But that doesn't mean the issue is dead. Those who claim a higher drinking age would save lives say the bill will be reintroduced next year. Sponsor Assemblyman Mel Zimmer of Syracuse says it all needs a little reworking.
So I think what we do is we go back, we try to correct a lot of misunderstanding about the bill, correct some misinterpretations about some of the data that was presented, and I'm confident that if we continue on that we will arrive at a 21-year-old drinking age.
The measure was defeated in the Assembly by just 7 votes.
Up next, we'll find out what tomorrow will bring. Joe will have the 5-cast.
And we'll take a look at that solar eclipse that everyone's been talking about, but no one here got to see.
If you see the following numbers on your lottery ticket, you're a winner. The daily number, 462, the Lotto combo, 26, 20, 5, 18, 3, 10. The supplementary number, 43.
This celebration of summer is a special invitation to try new summertime salads from Perkins. The all-new taco salad. The new Club Salad Supreme. And the melon sunburst. Perkins, where summertime salads are now in full bloom.
What makes Plymouth Reliant K a better family car than Tempo GL? Reliant seats 6, Tempo only 5. Now you can get special savings on automatic with any new Plymouth Reliant. And Tempo doesn't match Reliant's 5-year, 50,000-mile protection plan. Plymouth Reliant K, 2-door, 4-door wagon.
Lewis Goodman Chrysler Plymouth, 917 West Genesee Street, Syracuse.
Prize in the cola category, the envelope, please. Justin Johnson?
Here at the International Soda Awards, a remarkable thing is happening.
First prize for root beer, Justin Johnson.
An unknown 10-year-old boy has won the first 2 awards for soda in competition with the great international soft drink companies.
Orange, Justin Johnson.
Justin Johnson? Justin Johnson? How can he make soda without a soda factory?
I owe it all to this new machine, SodaStream.
SodaStream, huh?
Brilliantly simple. Fill these bottles with tap water, insert in the machine, press this button, add flavor, and you have a prize-winning soda. With SodaStream, you make it at home, exactly the way you like it.
SodaStream, the prize-winning soda you make the way you want it, when you want it. SodaStream, available at Faze.
Joe, do you realize that the next time we will see a solar eclipse will be in the year 2017, and because of the clouds today, we missed it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, you'll see another annular eclipse here in New York State in 1994. 10 years. Come on, you can wait. Cool day in central New York, a cloudy day. For those of you who did not get a chance to see the eclipse, I understand they have a piece of tape they'll be showing you soon, so enjoy it then. I'm sorry you couldn't see it live and in color. Glad most of you didn't because you'd hurt your eyes. 58 degrees was the high today, the low 42. Both temperatures well below normal. 58 degrees, about 20 degrees below normal for this day. No record set air quality good. Precipitation-wise, about a penny's worth of rain, 4.97 now for May and 14.70 for the year so far. Right now, partly cloudy skies, 42 degrees on the cool side. The barometer is steady at 30.03. Relative humidity at 92%, and the winds right now are calm. It has calmed down considerably weather-wise in Syracuse and central New York. You can see the streets tonight a little drier than they were this time last night. Around the viewing area right now, temperatures range from a high of 50 degrees in Fulton, Verona Beach, and in Cortland. The low temperature 36 degrees up in Parrish. Things are clearing out a tad tonight, although some clouds still persist in central New York. Satellite photograph of New York State looks like this. You can see it is starting to clear out for the most part in western New York. Still some light showers to the west-southwest of us, still some out in Ohio. But the big news tonight is 350 people have been evacuated from the Dutchess County area because of a lot of rain down that way and a lot of flooding. Heavy rain still falling down in the southeastern part of the state, out on Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and in Massachusetts. Also some heavy rain showing up now in New Hampshire. This is all moving east, and you can see we will start to clear out as the night goes on. The national map right now looks like this. Low pressure, which brought us our problem, is now moving off the coast. You can see the rain along the front. Still some showers and thunderstorms in Florida right now. Another low pressure wave has developed down here into the northwest of us. Don't worry about this one, just a cloud generator, nothing really to worry about. Some isolated showers well out to the west of New York State, but high pressure is about ready to build in and bring us this 5-cast, and it is new and it is improved. Tonight, partly cloudy, low about 40, winds light and variable. For Thursday, partly sunny with a 30% chance of a brief shower, high about 60, west winds 10 to 20. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, still a bit cool, low around 45 degrees. Then Friday, nice and sunny. It is going to be real nice. High temperature reading of around 75 degrees. Saturday, another nice day, high 70 degrees. Some scattered showers on Sunday, high about 70. And then Monday, another pretty day with partly sunny skies, high of around 70 degrees. And once again, let me emphasize, those showers on Sunday will be widely scattered. Let's look at the weather. Steve Cyphers has sports next. Stay there.
You mean to tell me this S10 has more payload than a Ford Ranger or a Mazda, and now the upstate Chevy dealers are selling some S10s for as low as $59.90? They can't do that.
Oh, yes, they can.
Chevy S10 has a net payload of 260 pounds more than Ford Ranger and 225 pounds more than Mazda. S10's trailering capability beats Toyota and Datsun by 3,000 pounds and offers more optional equipment than any of the competitors. You can't believe the savings at your upstate Chevy dealer.
Oh, yes, they can. The thing to do to get the look that makes them good. Come on now, the Marjack's way. Marjack's makes you #1. Get the look, get into it, get into that winning groove. Come on, strong, get on that. Marjack's makes you #1.
The look is hot. The look is Marjack's. And now all pony footwear and clothing's on sale. The pony sale on now.
Yeah, Marjack's.
Honey, you have to get yourself together. You don't talk to me anymore. This house is a mess.
Mommy, can you please listen to me? This is important. I have to go to school.
I just can't believe you didn't finish that report. You've been so unreliable lately. I just can't.
If you find yourself at the breaking point, you need professional help. The Benjamin Rush Center is an inpatient psychiatric hospital in Syracuse with treatment facilities for adolescents, adults, and seniors. Call 476-2161 for more information.
PNC, the price champion. You know we do it all.
The unbeatable price champion comes through this week with quartered chicken legs. PNC priced at only 48 cents a pound. First of the season, California Bing cherries, just 69 cents a pound. And Hills Brothers coffee in the 1-pound bag, only $1.99.
PNC is the price champion. Unbeatable.
All right, time to invoke those 3 magic words. You gotta, regatta.
If you so choose to get up at 7:30 tomorrow morning.
I think I'll sleep in.
Why not? Well, for the next 3 days, beginning tomorrow morning, the 82nd IRA Regatta will be held at Onondaga Lake. Now, the event closes out with Saturday's finals, but before Syracuse coach Bill Sanford starts thinking about championships, he's instructed his crews to concentrate on the preliminary heats.
I think that our goal is to get all the crews into the finals, because we know here that in the finals, if you get to that far, you've got the chance to win.
For Sanford's varsity 8-man shell to qualify for the finals tomorrow, the biggest test will come from the Cornell crew, according to the coach. And when it comes to that strong freshman boat, 3 schools, Princeton, Orange Coast, and California, will provide a major challenge in tomorrow's qualifying heat. One, Sanford says, could just as well be the championship. And one of the intangibles that would appear to favor the Orange oarsmen is the home water advantage, but Sanford's not convinced such a thing exists.
It's not different. And sometimes it's exotic for, you know, to take a crew for 3 or 4 days to another area, and it's a psych factor, actually. And so I don't know that it might even be a little bit of a disadvantage, but we like our home waters out there. And I'll tell you, if the fans come to the shore and start saying Syracuse when we're in the middle of that last 500, our people are going to respond.
Sounds like a hint to me. Now, I don't know what Syracuse manager Jim Beecham said to Dave Stenhouse to get him to respond, but whatever it was, it worked. Tonight, the Chiefs catcher knocked out 2 home runs, 1 a grand slam, and a 9-run 6th inning to help the club to an 11-5 win. That's the team's 17th win in 45 starts this season. Now, at Fenway Park in Boston tonight, the Red Sox' Jim Rice had a good night in the field and at the plate. Here in the second, he grabbed the Mickey Hatcher hit off the Green Monster, only to throw the Twins' designator hit out at second base. In the third, Rice knocked in what proved to be the game-winning run as the sacrifice fly scored Wade Boggs from third to make it 1-0. Then in the 7th, Rice got his second RBI of the night with his first home run at Fenway this season to make it a 2-0 game. Meanwhile, Bob Ojeda went the distance, scattering 7 hits to get his 3rd shutout of the year. Elsewhere in the American League this afternoon, Detroit beat Oakland 2-1. Baltimore was an 8-2 winner over Seattle. Doubleheader split between Milwaukee and Cleveland in Cleveland. Toronto leads Chicago. Now that's a final, I think, 2-1. Toronto beat Chicago 2-1. That is now a final. Kansas City lost one to Texas 7-3. Mickey Rivers a 2-run homer for the Rangers. And in the third, New York leads California 3-1. At Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta tonight, the Cubs snapped a 4-game losing streak with a win over the Braves as Leon Durham's double in the first drove in Bob Dernier and Gary Matthews to put Chicago on the board. The Cubs got 3 more in the fourth as Dernier drove in Larry Boa. By the end of the inning, the Braves were down by 5. Meanwhile, Steve Trout was working on a no-hitter through 7 2/3 innings, but when Albert Hall hit one to second, it was ruled a hit. Even though Sandberg did get a glove on it, it scored Trevino, who had reached base on a walk. That broke up the shutout. Trout apparently did not like the official scorer's ruling, but Rafael Ramirez followed with a clean single. Trout got the hook, and he had to settle for just a simple win as the Cubs held on for a 6-2 decision. Elsewhere tonight, checking the National League scoreboard, it was L.A. over Montreal 4-1. San Diego and the Mets rained out for the 2nd straight night. In the ninth, there's a rain delay in Philadelphia. Score tied at 2. In 14 innings, Pittsburgh is leading Cincinnati 4-3, not yet a final. And Houston was a loser to St. Louis. That is now a final, 6-4. Now, there were no real upsets in today's action at the French Open, even though the men's defending champ, Yannick Noah, had to go a full 5 sets to beat Mark Dixon. In other matches, the top 2 men's seeds, John McEnroe and Yvonne Lendl, advanced, while the defending women's champion, Chris Evert-Lloyd, was an easy first-round winner. Friday night at the Odd in Buffalo, top-ranked Livingstone Bramble will try to take the WBA lightweight title from the champ, Ray Boom Boom Mancini. By the way, we'll carry it live on TV5 with coverage beginning at 8 o'clock. Bob Arum is promoting the fight, and a couple of weeks ago when he was in town, he didn't hesitate when he told me he believed Mancini would successfully defend his title.
Well, I fully believe that Ray is going to win, and even though I'm a promoter, I'm not going to say I'm neutral in the fight. I want Ray to win the fight, but it's going to be a tough, tough battle. Bramble's a nasty kid, and he's a wise guy, and he's a little bizarre, and he'll do unusual things, and he's very, very cocky.
Finally tonight, it looks like wide receiver for Buffalo, Frank Lewis, will have to hang it up. He failed to pass the Bills' preseason physical, so Kay Stevenson, the head coach of the Bills, said
you're out of there.
Frank Lewis will not be back with the club next fall.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
You bet.
Hot off the assembly line, General Motors today introduced the first mini car. The Chevy Sprint is smaller than the old Volkswagen Beetle or the Renault Le Car. Although marketed by GM, the Sprint is made in Japan by Suzuki Motors. Critics accuse GM of giving the U.S. market away to Japan. But GM spokesmen say they are buying time until they can build competitive cars. The Sprint seats 4, measures 12 by 5 feet, and weighs a mere 1,500 pounds. Cost just under $5,000.
Well, we couldn't see it here in central New York, but apparently today's solar eclipse, the last major one in this century, was a sight to behold in much of the nation. Renee Ferguson has the story.
The future was on President Reagan's mind at the Air Force Academy commencement on a picture-perfect morning in the mountains of Colorado.
Our apologies, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have the eclipse story. We wish we could bring it to you. Now, for all of us who work the late night news watch here at your news center, good night.
At Wegmans, we're trying to give you better service, a better selection, and even better prices, like delicious California Bing cherries, just 48 cents a pound. And visit any convenient Wegmans pharmacy to register to win a trip for two to London, England. Airfare will be provided by TWA. Entry blanks are available at all Wegmans pharmacies, where every day you get our best.
When you choose classic, you make it clear. What really matters to you is taste. Make it clear. Make it classic.
People who watch Newscope learn something new every day.
I really appreciate the segment that had to do with growing hair. I just wish I could do it.
It was really interesting to learn that there's a natural way to clean my house without spending a great deal of money and buying chemicals.
That's the kind of information that's really helpful to me and my family.
Newscope, information you remember, information you use. Watch weekdays at 5:30 on TV5.
I saw a man yesterday. He wanted to take me to buy some candy.
What did you do?
I ran away and told my teacher.
What did she say?
Just what my mommy and daddy told me, never go anywhere with strangers.
Jeffrey, what's a stranger?
A stranger is somebody you maybe don't know or never saw before. You don't know their name or where they live.
But what if they're nice?
Never go anywhere with a stranger and never take candy or anything from a stranger. Ask your mom and dad.